Oh, for crying out loud. Do we have to do this now? Great timing. Okay, fine. Hi, everybody. It's me again, Dave. Does this scenario look familiar? I know, you don't want to admit this, but if the police pulled you over, it was probably for a good reason. Like, maybe they witnessed you doing something that you shouldn't. Maybe he didn't like the condition of your truck. Or maybe it's one of those commercial vehicle safety inspection blitzes. Whatever the reason, be on your best behavior. Love your hat, officer. You've got to admit that a lot of vehicles on the road today really ought to be in a scrap pile somewhere. Lousy brakes, bald tires, leaking fluids, broken windshields, missing lights, fuzzy dice. Some trucks even have unsecured loads that can be a real safety hazard to anyone around them. The DOT inspectors have a very important job to do.
Thank you, driver.
You're very welcome, officer. And their job ain't easy. It's even more difficult for them if drivers don't cooperate. I kind of like the idea of stupid being a crime. Look, drivers make important decisions all day long, and the conditions you make about your own behavior about dealing with the authorities can mean the difference between a warning and a night in jail. And trust me, you don't want that to happen. Smelly rooms, metal slabs for a bed, listening to that guy sing "Here Comes Santa Claus" all night long, while your in-laws are back at your house ruining Christmas Eve, yelling at your wife that her husband is a... Anywho, just let me put it this way. Don't be an asshole. The inspectors know what they're doing, and they've seen it all. Don't even think that you can pull the wool over their eyes. The DOT rules for commercial vehicles and commercial drivers are complex and specific. If you or your company have a history of violations, this moment of camaraderie along the side of the road is going to be tougher than it needs to be. The golden rule is always be polite and always be truthful. Don't be evasive when the officer asks you a question. Lying is never an option, Pinocchio. The inspectors can perform 5 different kinds of inspections: a full inspection, a walk-around, a driver only, a special inspection, and a terminal inspection at your scrapyard. Are you ready for this? They use a 37-point inspection form. At first, the inspector may just want to talk to you, but if they get the feeling that you're not being straight with them, odds are it's going to turn into a full inspection. First impressions count, so make sure your paperwork is up to date and easy to find. If you can't produce the right stuff, like your CDL or medical card, you're probably going to have a bad day. You don't want to be rifling through your cab like you're searching for change for the meter. They're always going to look at your hours of service records. They call it a record of duty review, and verify the hours are correct by looking at other documents that prove your recorded hours, like receipts or bills of lading. They ask where and when you started, where you're going, and stuff like that. At the same time, they'll be making observations about your health and whether you seem fatigued or impaired. When they look at the truck, they'll pay close attention to the condition of it, how well it's cared for, and evidence that it's passed previous inspections, like the CVSA sticker or the details in your safe stat record. If the inspector asks you to follow along during the inspection to answer questions, do it. And remember, if you don't know an answer, that's fine. Just say so. Don't make stuff up. The inspector may want you to stay in the cab instead. Do whatever it is that he or she says to do, and don't raise a fuss about anything. When it's all said and done, you'll get inspection paperwork. It might be an inspection report, and it might be a citation. You need this paperwork for the entry in your logbook about the fun time you just had. This is all stuff you learned from your grandmother. Be polite and courteous, Don't pick a fight or argue some meaningless inspection detail, and be respectful. Throwing in an occasional sir or madam wouldn't hurt. Remember, the inspector has a better chance of being right about a compliance issue than you do. Finally, you might think your pistol is bigger than the cops, but keep it to yourself. And always remember, you need to operate safely or not at all.